Hello guys, chasing up New 80's Revolution out here on the ranch. I'm just home alone for a little while and wanted to come out here and do a little video for you. We're going to talk about the top 5 horror movies that remind me of the 1980s. They are guaranteed to bring 80s love to your soul. We did this before with just top 5 movies in general that remind me of the 80s. Hopefully the lawn mowing doesn't hear that clugging away. That's a deep lawn right there. Or his mower is too low. Anyway, I did the top 5 overall movies, just general, and I had no intention of doing horror, but then I thought of one particular movie that was in the horror genre that I said, oh, that's absolutely an 80s memory producing movie. So I thought, all right, let me just do 5 horror movies. Big surprise for you guys. It is gluten-free beer. That's right, it's gluten-free beer, and the summer has officially begun. I'm eating a ton of chicken. I'm gonna grill tonight some more chicken, shockingly, with a bourbon maple glaze, seasoning that I got for my birthday. And hopefully we just keep putting on the pounds. Now the beer, look, it's gluten-free. I think it's alcohol-free too, to be honest with you. I think it's got like a tiny little bit of alcohol in here. And I'm not the best at the carbonation swallowing yet, but it goes down. It goes down. All right, and I feel like I'm drinking beer in the summer, and it is beer. I don't know. It's got a weird. It says alcohol content not more than 3.2% by weight. So this is a very. I don't know if that's. Yeah, ABV, alcohol by weight. Or no, that's not ABV. Alcohol content not more than 3.2% by weight. I don't know what that means. Is that the ABV? I don't think so. It's usually just all over the bottle. But I've had 2 and I don't feel anything. So I hope gluten-free beer is not alcohol-free beer. But anyway, we're outside. I'm home alone. I played 4 rounds of Fortnite. Maybe I'll stream Fortnite. Does anybody want to see me stream Fortnite? Noob Dad plays Fortnite. I don't know. I think the title alone would grip some people. After this, I'm going to go to the at-home store. I've got $110 in credit to use there. Man, I am skin. Look at this neck. I used to have like this whale blubber underneath my neck. And now I've got veins. I don't like it. I got to keep. So I'm 177. We're going to eat a lot today. And hopefully if I start drinking these, I'll put on some weight. I don't know. Anyway, let's do the top 5 movies, top 5 horror movies that remind me 100% of the 1980s. And the reason for this video, the movie that I thought of the most initially, bam, right off the bat, that screamed 80s. Now remember, when I did the original movies, the original top 5, I talked about what I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for is atmosphere. What I'm looking for is 80s homes, 80s kids, 80s schools, 80s bedrooms, 80s furniture. Just like a total, this movie was 80s cars. This movie was absolutely filmed in the 80s. And the one that jumps out for so many reasons, my number 1 pick. None of these are ranked, but this is my number 1 pick. Poltergeist, ladies and gentlemen. Poltergeist just crushes the 80s vibe out of the park. I mean, look what she's doing. She's got her hands all over a console floor model television. Again, the housing track that I love. It's just like E.T. E.T. has the housing track. Poltergeist has the housing track where a developer just takes over a plot of land and just builds houses, and then there's nothing else around them. There's desert, there's forest, There's hills. There's nothing else around them except an Indian burial ground, but whatever. I love those. I love those neighborhoods, right? Pre-development, pre-boom. Find a plot of land, build a bunch of homes, and nothing else. Nothing else in the neighborhood. Poltergeist. The kids, the television, the neighborhood. Poltergeist. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love the movie. This is like a top 5 horror movie in general from the 80s. I just love Poltergeist. But that one blasts you back to the past. Another one that takes me back is due to the fact. Now there's not a lot of there's some 80s feel to it. So it's an anthology. The portion with Leslie Nielsen, where he's in his apartment, and it's like a totally rich guy's technologically advanced apartment for the 80s. It hits me in the atmosphere soul. But I picked this movie because it was always on. It was always on TBS. It was always on HBO. It was just always on. And because back then you're 10 years old, you don't just sit down and watch a movie. You flip around your cable channel and you find the last 20 minutes or the first 30 minutes of Creepshow. Creepshow is definitely a movie that transports me back to the 80s, absolutely 100%, because of the fact that it was just always on. The Howling was always on at night. Creepshow was just always on. I just came across it in parts so many times, and it seems like I always came across it either doing the Adrienne Barbeau skit or the end with all the cockroaches. That seems to be the time that I always turned it on, and I always, whatever. You just flip through, you watch a little bit of Creepshow. We don't do that today. That's gone. That's a lost art. Tuning into a show halfway in the middle of it and sitting around and watching it, or watching any movie on cable. If you're watching USA, I don't even know if they do this because I don't have it anymore, but I don't know if you're watching USA, if you're watching TV on a Sunday afternoon and you're flipping through, and TNT has Big Daddy on, are you going to sit and watch the last 38 minutes of Big Daddy? No, we don't do that anymore. We don't flip around and go, oh, I like this one. Here, let's watch this. We don't do that anymore. Those days are gone. I don't do it anymore. Those days are gone. Creepshow, Poltergeist. This one, everybody, of course, was saying, look, we know there's going to be some Friday the 13th being repped here. And, of course, all of the Friday the 13th remind me of the 80s. But this one in particular, because I saw it in a theater with my mom and my 2 sisters. Now, this movie came out in 86. So that means I was 10. My one sister was 8. And my other sister was 5. And my mom took us to see Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason, there's no Jason Lives. Oh yeah, Jason Lives. Jason Lives. Friday the 13th, Part 6, 1986. And this is one of my favorites in general because I get so mad at Tommy Jarvis in this movie. Friday the 13th Part 5 with Corey Feldman was way up there. Almost could have easily replaced this. If it wasn't for I Saw It in the Movies, Part 5 would have probably replaced this. But I get so mad at when they go and they dig up Jason in the beginning of this movie. I get so mad because it's just so stupid. They dig him up, he's laying there, he's dead. He's been dead for years. Like, it's over. The Jason thing is over. And then you dig him up. Not only do you dig him up, but you electrocute him back to life because you're so stupid. And the way you electrocute him back to life is you're so mad at him that you go to the iron bars of the cemetery fence and you rip an iron bar off of the cemetery fence. Because that's what we can do. And then you jam it into Jason. Lightning bolt hits. Boom. Gives his rotted corpse heart energy, and he's back to life. And then he punches a hole through, so Tommy Jarvis escapes, and the friend is like, and Jason punches a hole through his chest and grabs his heart on the other side. Love it. Love it. This is also the one where the father, the police officer father, is bent in half backwards. Another great kill. Jason bends him in half and snaps him backwards in half. Folds him like that. I love it. So, yes, I saw it in the movie theater at 10, Sister 8, and Sister 5. And Mom in the movie theater. What? Whatever. I love it. This was a tough choice. There are 2 films from this series that absolutely catapult me to the 80s. Part 1 and Part 2. I chose Part 1. I think that's a no-brainer. Well, no, it's not. It's a no-brainer. Part 2 is very, very close. It was very, very close because I think I've seen Part 2 more than Part 1. Maybe, if that's possible. I don't know. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. This is the 7-disc series. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 is an amazing transportation back to the 80s. Johnny Depp, Heather Langenkamp, her blonde friend, I hate the bees. The bees are just awful. Rod that kills Tina. There's some scenes in the school. There's some scenes in the high school. The neighborhood, the house, the parents. I love it when like the dad, Johnny Depp's dad, Glenn. Johnny Depp's dad answers the phone at like midnight when Heather Langenkamp is calling, when Nancy's calling. And the father like has his pajamas on, and the mom has it, and they're like going nuts that it's like midnight and the phone ringing. And the father's like, "No, he's sleeping. Call back tomorrow." Boom, and he hangs up the phone. He's like, "You just got to be firm with these kids." I love it. Like the dad has to answer the phone because your cell phone's not ringing. You're not getting a text. The house phone is ringing, and it's driving everybody nuts. I love that. I love Johnny Depp's room scenes where he's got the portable TV on his lap, right, and he's watching MTV. And he gets sucked into the waterbed. I love the fact that there's a waterbed in this movie. Tons of 80s stuff, tons of trip back, and just reminds me of a time when I was actually horribly terrified of this movie and didn't want to watch it at night alone. Remember, I had cable in my bedroom at 8 years old, and this movie came out in 84. Right? Was it 84? 84. So I could have watched this at 8 years old, and I'm sure that I did. But I was so scared of this movie because it is a scary movie. The original Nightmare on Elm Street is a very scary movie because it's a very scary concept, because it takes everything that we told kids, or everything that we were told as kids, and crumbles it all up and throws it away, right? When you had a bad dream, your parents told you it was only a nightmare. You're okay. You're safe in your bed. You can't be hurt by dreams. Well, according to this movie, you could die in your dreams. So, good luck. It's a cruel, cruel movie to be made, because it just tells kids, look, everything we've told you, dead lie. You're going to die, and be afraid of nightmares because you're going to die in them. Well, and the last one that jumps out and says, totally reminds me of the 80s. Is a movie that, again, you saw a million times in different in portions. You saw it a million times throughout your life in portions. You saw it on USA, you saw it on HBO, you just saw it all throughout childhood in portions. And then for me, the movie disappeared. It disappeared off TV. It just disappeared. Obviously it wasn't. It just stopped airing, and you stopped thinking about it. And then I bought it on Blu-ray, and it's a movie that I have to watch once a year. The Gate, ladies and gentlemen, is a massive trip back to the 80s. Again, atmosphere. The homes, the neighborhood, the furniture, the parents, the outfits. But for this one, it's the buddies. It's the friends. It's 2 kids Stephen Dorff and his weird looking friend, maybe Louis Tripp. I don't know what his name is, but what do? They're friends and they're hanging out and they're having sleepovers and they dig up a hole and they unleash Satan. Basically, they unleash hell. But they're working together to solve the problem, and I just love it. I love this movie. I love how the sister has like two older girlfriends that come over and they're making fun of the kids and the kids are making fun of them, and then all five of them work together at one point. I love the toy rockets that play a role in this movie. There's toys. I love the bug zapper outside the window. That is just such an 80's throwback item, the bug zapper. So you got this thing going off all night outside your window, just decimating bugs. And every time you hear the bzzz, that something just got slaughtered. And it's like just hanging right outside your window. No big deal. You're trying to go to sleep and there's carnage going on outside. A little bit of like heavy metal, death metal, demonic devil music is portrayed in this movie. I think this is 87. You can never find the dates on these. I think it's 87. It's 86. All right. So, but The Gate, always on. You always seen it in 30-minute clips. And then you sit down, you watch the whole thing, and you're like, all right, it's The Gate and it's lovely. So those are my movies. Those are my top 5 movies that absolutely 100% transport me back to the 80s. The Gate, Nightmare 1, Friday 6, Creep Show, and the number 1, Poltergeist. Poltergeist is just watch it just for the kitchen, the beautiful kitchen, the beautiful 80s kitchen, the televisions on the kitchen counter during breakfast. God, if I could have, that's one thing that I would have in a second, and I've never been allowed it, but a television in my kitchen. Someday, don't worry. Someday I'll have my own kitchen, and there'll be a television or 2 in my kitchen. All right, so that's it. That's the top 5 horror movies that remind me of the 80s. The yard is, let's see, let's give you a little tour. The yard is taking shape. You can see my big giant backyard. Yard is looking, our gardens are looking good. There's our garden behind me. That is a big long garden. And then we're gardening over here too. I'll show you, that's all garden too. That's all garden. And then down there we've got a couple garden boxes. I built that stupid little rickety little area so that we could put our pool floats in. But anyway, this is where I hang. Now I feel like I can sit at the bar because now I can drink a beer. So I'm going to sit here at this little makeshift bar that I made and have a beer. My Pepsi cooler over there, my vintage Pepsi cooler. Now I can have a beer here at my... Yeah, it still hurts a little. Well, I'll have an endoscopy in June, actually a month from yesterday. Find out, what it's looking like in there and why carbonation is still a weird sensation. But food is beautiful. Gatorade goes down like nothing. Food is going down like nothing. It's just weird carbonation. It doesn't get stuck by any means. It just feels weird going down. And maybe it's because I haven't had any in 2 months. But it's just a weird feeling. All right, so that's it. We'll go back in the house and we'll. I got. Like I said, I'm gonna go to the at-home store. I gotta drain the pool. Ugh. I gotta get that pool opened this week. Today and tomorrow. I gotta start draining it. Yeah, it's peaceful out here. You come out the sliding glass door there, and I just hop on the old couch here and have a sit and just hang. It's very nice back here, and I need to appreciate it more and soak it in more, and be out here a little bit more than I am. And those clotheslines I put up, I built those clotheslines. You can see them, the yellow ones in the distance there. We haven't used them in like 4 years. I built them, we used them once for one season. We haven't, so I'm gonna get some line. I'm gonna get some line and string them up, and we're gonna hang our clothes out here again, because that's a nice feeling too. You know, you put your bed sheets out here, and then you sleep on those, and it's nice feeling. Anyway, I don't know where this video is going, but I'm just hanging out with you outside. All right, we're gonna go in the house, and I got to run to the at-home store, like I said. And yeah, so thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all next time. Good night now.